Hey there, everybody. How's it going today? Oh my goodness, today has been, well, actually, this whole week has been crazy. And so many times when this happens, it's easy to throw in the towel and say, I'm not doing this. I'm done. I'm ready to call it quits or, make excuses for why we can't move forward. And, doing this business for 6 years now almost, let me just say that yes, there's going to be moments that you just want to hit your head against the wall or kick the wall, whatever it looks like. And it's normal. It's completely normal. I just actually got through half of this webinar and had a breakdown 3-year-old screaming, carrying on. So even though I got through more than half, with multiple interruptions, multiple phone calls coming in at the same time, multiple times that she was in and out of my office asking for something, crying for another reason or another. It's just the way life is. This business is so worth it, but so many of us find those distractions enough to stop us. And I could have easily said, I've got way too much to do, and I really do. I'm actually trying to get prepared to leave tomorrow morning. So the multiple loads of laundry, the showers and the baths for my kids and myself, the packing, and it's not just packing clothes, it's packing mattresses, pillows, sleeping stuff, like insanity, and all without my husband home because he's been away enjoying a wonderful week of fishing very far from here. He's actually flying in tomorrow. So that's why I have to be ready to pick him up to get out for the weekend. So I am recording this today instead of doing the live at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time this evening, because I just know that my day will continue to be as hectic as it is now. And it's probably easier for me to do it now than to wait till 9, because something's going to probably come in the middle of all that at 9, and I will make another excuse to not do this. So I just wanted to read something that came across my Facebook feed before I got online here. And it's interesting. The difference between a quitter and someone persistent is one tiny moment. And here you go. And this is so timely. The quitter says, that's it. It will never come. I can't finish this. I'm not good enough. But the persistent, in brackets, stubborn plus optimistic, end of brackets, person says at that moment, not yet. I'm going to try just a little bit longer. I think I might be able to figure this out. It may take 1,000 of those tiny moments for the persistent person to finish, but that is really the difference. And this person that wrote this his name is Sean David Jenkins. So I think that came across my Facebook feed at the absolute right time, because like I said, having half of this recorded and done, and then having a meltdown by a 3-year-old was enough for me to go, you know what, is this worth it? Or should I just cancel week 5 and do it when I can later on? And then I realized that no, how we do one thing is how we do everything. So if I'm giving up today and pushing off the MIT to next week, then I'm now a week behind. And next week's gonna be just as busy and crazy because I'll be getting ready for Celebration in San Diego. So this is the way it is. Roll with it. Keep moving forward anyway, facing those challenges and saying, you know what, those challenges aren't enough to stop me. So I'm here to tell you guys it's worth it. Stay persistent and you'll see it too. All right, so let's get started by sharing my screen. And here we are, let's get going. All right, so this week we're going to be discussing a couple of things. Alicia's webinar, I have to just first of all say thank you, Alicia Roper. She is someone fairly new to our team who is really getting the idea of branding herself, as you'll see on her website, ropedin.ca. And I just love her idea of roped in. She's really roped into life, because as many of you can relate, sometimes life goes in directions we're not liking. And when we can take it to a totally new level, with the help of surrounding ourselves with the right people, the right food, the right exercise, and all those things, we can really get roped into living a greater life. So Alicia, fantastic work on your presentation. And you know, it was so great for me to see the fact that Alicia didn't have a lot of my support. I enrolled her and she was asking about how to do Google Hangouts. at which time I was extremely busy and involved in so many commitments that I had to put her off and say, I'm so sorry, I can't help. But she was persistent. She could have easily thrown in the towel too and said, I'll do it when Tara has time to help me. But she was persistent enough to do it anyway, even though she had to figure it out. Much like most of us, we don't rely on anyone else for our success. We really need to rely on ourselves, and so many people are looking externally for the answers all the time, and they're not willing to put in the effort to do it themselves. So I am so proud of you, Alicia. Thank you so much for doing this for our team and everyone else in Team Green. And for those of you who don't know what Team Green is, it is our one team goal in Isagenix. Anybody financially linked or not, we are helping one another no matter what. So thank you so much. Alicia's webinar is linked here, and right now you wouldn't be able to click on it like I can, but I will be sharing in our MIT group the Summer Accountability Program 2015. If you're not in it right now, you can search for it on Facebook, and I will be putting all these links on there, and I know Alicia has put this link on there as well for those of you. And I will also have yes, I probably will have her link with her permission put in the seeitwhenyoubelieveit.com group as well, or not group, the website. And we'll be looking at that as well. But right now, just so that you can see what her website looks like so that you know you're in the right place. Here it is, and I'm just going to press play for the first few seconds here.
Hi, everybody. I do apologize. The initial call that we had only allowed 10 people on, and I'm not sure why, and it didn't record. So I have had my dry run, and I'm going to give it another stab at it. So thank you for your patience. I think I've finally figured out Google Hangouts.
And there you have it. She's another person who, no matter with the challenges and the learning that goes along with it, she has decided to be persistent and continue moving forward. So let's get back to the slideshow here. So we're also going to discuss this week three-way calling and the importance of it, other tools which create duplication and simplicity. That's what we're looking to do, is keep things simple. And then of course, we're also going to talk about compensation plan tools that can help you get in touch with all the details about how our compensation plan works. I am going to be providing tools for that portion of the training today, because I think that it's really important for people to have a place to go to find different resources depending on certain levels of learning, right? Everyone has a different way of learning, and my webinar may not be the place to do the compensation plan in detail. I think that because there's already great tools created and multiple tools created for the comp plan, it's great to use those tools instead of trying to reinvent the wheel. And that's the whole point of this. We're not trying to recreate anything that's already there. In the coming weeks, though, you can look forward to learning more about what other successful people are doing in this business, such as personal growth, which is something I truly believe should be a daily habit. And we'll talk more about that later. Building your network. Many people, one of their biggest excuses for not being successful in this business or not wanting to do this business is because they don't know enough people. We're going to give you some more tools on that. And 8 steps to launching a new associate. I know we've talked about that a little bit when we discussed our checklist and our binder idea. Like with Alicia's webinar, she is teaching you her version of the online binder and organizing tool. And that will also include some of the 8 steps to launching a new associate things, the checklists. But for my way of doing it, and many other people like the paper and pencil with a binder or some sort of an organizing tool that you can actually write on. So I love computer stuff, but there are certain things I love to have my hands on as well. So either way that you do it, I'm sure you'll find great success through the online version that Alicia has. And also if you're looking at what I do, it was covered, I think, in week 3. It might have been week 2, but I think it was week 3. And then of course the My Isagenix tool. Many people use that very successfully. I don't use it to its potential, to be honest. I use it for very limited things, but I do use it. And I'm going to be sharing, why people might be looking at using My Isagenix. and then a lot more other ideas of what we're going to be training on. So like I said, this MIT series is a very different one. It has a lot of things that maybe other MITs don't cover. A lot of MITs are usually 4 weeks long, and I didn't want to have an end to this one, only in the sense that I don't know how long it's going to take to get through the details that I'd like to share with you guys. And I'm looking at this from every standpoint of, some are beginners just getting started, and some of you tuning in are ready to start launching your own MITs with your own groups, and you're looking at this from a perspective of a trainer. So I just really wanted to cover it in a way that it reaches everybody. All right, let's talk about three-way calling first. Three-way calling is one of the most effective ways to connect people to more answers and getting them closer to a decision of whether or not Isagenix is for them as far as products or business or both. You're going to obviously have 3 people: yourself, an expert, and a guest. The expert is always going to be somebody who has some value to offer. You are going to be the person connecting the 2 people. The guest is going to have questions or concerns, and that is why you are actually bringing them to an expert. Keep in mind, an expert doesn't necessarily have to be someone who's been in Isagenix for a long time. They don't even have to be someone who is doing the business. They're simply someone who has an experience that you really want to share with your guest. And in that case, they become the expert. And let's see, why three-way calling? It is one of the most efficient uses of your time. Clearly, time is valuable, and I certainly recommend that if you're doing three-way calling, which I hope that every single one of you does after this training, that you're using your time wisely. 10 to 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes max. I've seen people go into an hour, and I've even done that. And it becomes one of those times where if you're going beyond 20 minutes, the guest on the other line is already being trained in our business by just being a guest. So if you're training your guest that you're taking an hour to answer like multiple questions, multiple concerns, taking that much time with them, then they are going to automatically assume that you spend that kind of time with everybody on the phone. And they're going to fill in their own blanks. They're going to say, wow, if this person took an hour with me, I wonder how many calls they do a day. I don't really like the phone. Maybe I don't want to be on the phone that much. So this is definitely not a business I would ever be interested in. So you really want to make it very concise, very to the point, and very time limited. Because again, you don't want to use your time to the point of going overtime, because you're just really going to be training people that that's what you should be doing. It can be done anytime and anywhere, which is a really beautiful thing. Keep in mind that if you're doing it anywhere, find out for sure that you have three-way calling on your phone. No matter where you are, who you're with, really the only thing that would stop you from doing it anywhere is your cell coverage if you're far away, or if your phone doesn't actually have that service, then you wouldn't be able to do it anywhere. It validates your ability to connect in an expert. So, there are many times, like I said, that we're going to need an expert, and it could be someone who has an awesome product experience who you want to share with your guest, or it could be someone who has created great success in the business, and that might even be in the first month. Maybe they've got their products paid for in their first month, and your guest is saying that it's too expensive or they can't afford it. So getting them on the phone with the expert who has actually just started, who got their products paid for in the first few weeks, that is an amazing expert to have online, because it's relatable. People can feel connected with something like that, as long as it relates to them. The top income earners all use three-way calling. I will tell you right now that at the beginning, years ago, I was afraid of the whole three-way calling idea. But as I practiced a few times and got the hang of it, it became one of my favorite tools to use. And I believe that it will be for you too. So don't let your fear or your place of being completely new to it stop you. Think of Alicia. I mean, here she was, had no idea how to do Google Hangout. It is not the simplest thing to do at the beginning, but she figured it out on her own. So these are things we're teaching you the skills, but it really comes down to you. What are you willing to do as far as practicing the skills so that you can become an expert as well? When to use three-way calls. Now, this is a picture of Susan Sly, who is an amazing role model and leader within our team. We are part of Susan Sly's team. Most people, even who aren't financially linked to me, are part of Susan's team. She's from Ontario, Canada, but lives currently in Phoenix, Arizona. And beside her, the blonde lady, is Dr. Ina. And we're going to talk a little bit about Dr. Ina and how you can utilize Dr. Ina for your three-way calls as well. So welcome calls. This is one way that many people use three-way calling. Welcome calls are great because it follows up after your welcome email, and we'll talk about this in more detail when we discuss again the 8 steps to launching a new associate. But welcome calls are kind of similar in the sense that we are connecting a new person with another teammate. Because think about it, if you're the only person that your new enrollee has as support, you're going to feel constantly pulled at. I mean, our newest people are the ones who need us most because they're just starting out. But if you're the only person they can connect with, then you're going to feel constantly as though you're being asked for help. And it's great when they know that they have not only you, but at least one other person to go to if they have any questions when they can't get a hold of you. So that's one way to really connect people, is through the welcome call. And welcome calls usually are like 5 minutes or less. It's just a matter of introducing 2 people and letting the expert talk and just welcome the person and see if there's any questions, and then basically closing out and sharing that place of support. Another time when you're going to use three-way calls are when a person, a prospect, or a business partner has looked at information. So please don't use the three-way call as a beginning place. This is always best to use three-way calls only after you've already presented information to somebody. Assisting someone with getting questions answered after a presentation or a launch party. So, you know, anytime you've used a tool of any kind, whether it's a live event or a tool online or a tool in hand or even a sample, which I think is the next thing, you know, you're creating a community, but you're also bringing people into a place of, after they've seen information, you're getting their questions or their concerns answered. Who to use for calls? So clearly, we're part of a team. So you can use your upline, your downline, your crossline. And crossline just simply means you're not financially linked to people, but you're using them anyway, just like in Team Green. Dr. Ina, who you saw in the earlier slide, she is fantastic. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about where you can find her call details. But she has calls every single week, and you can actually physically three-way call someone into those calls and, you know, maybe even ask the question to Dr. Ina for your guest so that your guest can hear. And again, it would be very simple that you would introduce Dr. Ina to your guest, and you'd just say, you know, thank you for taking our call, and, you know, here's our question. Dr. Ina does have several people calling in to her calls each day, but you can still, you know, bring a new person into her calls. And it's really valuable because you'll also hear other people asking questions, and maybe your guests would really appreciate having all those questions asked, and they can learn from it as well. It's great to have a list of at least 3 people that you can go to physically to ask for support when you're looking for a three-way call. Other times it's also good to post in groups such as Team Green or Isagenix Business on Facebook or any other group that you're part of. Maybe you're looking to speak with an athlete and you're in the ISA athletes page, or a mom, maybe a nursing mom or a pregnant mom. You know, go into ISA Mummies on Facebook and you'll find some great people there. But again, don't be afraid to ask specifically for who you're looking for. So if it is an athlete that you're looking for who maybe does a certain type of exercise or a certain type of fitness, call them out. You might not know who they are yet, but just put a message saying, I'm looking for such and such a person, maybe a fitness competitor who is utilizing Isagenix through their training. And then just see what kind of feedback you get. Because everyone really with the mindset of Team Green and one team is there to help you, and they will offer support if they can. Create a 5-point introduction. So when you're introducing a new person to your expert, you always want to introduce both people. And we're going to talk about that in a second, but you're looking for 4 to 5 things that you can tell your guest about the person who's on the other end of the phone. So it could look like this. Wendy, I'd like to introduce you to my business partner, Patty. Patty is an entrepreneur, has coached hundreds of people to success in Isagenix, comes from a professional background in business, is a loving wife to her husband, Bruce, and someone I am pleased to call my friend. So as you see, there is no network marketing jargon. There is no rank levels. If we said that Patty is a 4-star golden circle, that loses our guest right away because they have no idea what we're talking about. So the other thing to keep in mind is please don't put people on a pedestal. When we're putting a guest in touch with an expert, we don't want there to be such a gap between the two people that one person is high on a pedestal and the other person feels at the very bottom of the ladder. It's better to try to keep them on an even so that there is more of a community being created, more of a personal connection, and not an expert as in what we know as an expert. The expert simply is just a name we use right now for explaining the difference between the people that you're putting in touch with one another. Here's the fundamentals. Make sure you have your 3-way calling feature on your phone. I know for me personally, unfortunately, I'm with a corporate plan under Rogers for my cell phone, and my iPhone, surprisingly enough, does not have 3-way calling feature because of my corporate plan. It doesn't make any sense to me. Rogers is still trying to figure out why I don't have it, but it's been going on for years, and it's not something that I often go in and complain about because I keep getting the same answers. But clearly know if you have 3-way calling service, and if you don't, invest in it. And I would pay $10 for it a month if I could. But they say that it's included in my phone, and it seems to never work. So they can't quite figure out at Rogers or at Apple why it's not working, and this is my second phone. So, but I have it on my other phone line, and I can be called into 3-way calls on my cell phone. I just can't initiate the call on my cell phone. But knowing that now makes me feel better because I remember the first time I tried to initiate a 3-way call, I hadn't practiced first, and I didn't have the service. So I sounded like a bit of a, I felt really terrible trying to connect 2 people on my cell phone multiple times, and then finally having to ask someone to do the call for me. And it wasn't very fun. So always know if you have the 3-way calling feature before you set up a call, because nothing is more embarrassing than trying to do it and it not work. On a smartphone, you would actually press link or add. So if you're doing this, definitely give it a practice. Try with a friend or family member and call 2 people to try to see if it works. And usually it will the first time. It was just my phone that was being weird. But yeah, excellent. Usually very easy. On a ground line or landline, you'll find that you'll have a flash button. Usually you'll need to press that button, and we'll explain a little more in detail here. So obviously, like I said, connect with your phone service provider to find out how much it costs, what it takes for you to put it on. Usually you can call them today and have it put on today. So it's not even usually a matter of waiting long for it. It's just a matter of initiating it. And the budget is usually really quite low as far as 3-way call service. Sometimes you have it and you don't even realize you do. Definitely keep your receipts for tax purposes because this is a business expense. I know myself, I don't need 3-way calling unless it's business, and I have a dedicated business line. So it's easy for me to keep those things separate. 3-way phone call. So who qualifies? Clearly, like I said, someone who has actually looked at information already qualifies. Someone who's asking questions and someone who has sampled products. Now, it can be and or. Clearly, we don't want to just put someone on a 3-way call without letting them know first. So you're not going to do this without their permission. And in saying that, I also don't use the word 3-way. I always say, if someone's asking a great question and I either have the answer or I don't have the answer, and I say either have the answer or not, because the more I know, the more I actually scare people away from the business. I want to make sure they understand how simple this business can be. So let's say, for example, someone asks me the question of, why is there fructose in your products? I know the answer to that question because I've been asked that question many times. However, I may say, you know what, that's an amazing question. I don't know the answer to that. Would you be open to having me put you on the phone with a friend of mine who is really great as far as understanding the products? And that's me asking that permission question. And usually they're going to say, yeah, that sounds great, because I would really love to know the answer to that. So that's one example of how you can put them in touch with a three-way phone call without actually calling it a three-way phone call. Many people aren't comfortable with that term, or they've never done one before, so they feel like it's, ugh, it sounds scary, right? All right, so how do we set it up? Always get the availability from your guest first. This makes it easier because that way you can really try to get an idea. So one thing I'll caution you is never promise any time. But what I do is I say to my guest, can you give me 3 times within the next week of when you would be available? And that's going to now give me 3 times that I'm going to write down so that when I'm getting in touch with my expert, I will have 3 times that my guest is available. And it usually makes the process that much faster. So my guest might say, yeah, actually I've got tonight between 6 and 8. I can connect on Friday morning or Saturday evening. And that would give me 3 times. And I would say to them before I let them go, that's great. I will definitely get back to you as soon as I can to let you know what time is going to work for my expert or my friend or my business partner. If those times don't work, I will also get an idea of when this person is available. So now I'm going to connect with my expert, my upline, downline, crossline person. And I'm then going to say, are you available either of these times? My guest is available and these are the things that they have questions about. So I'm going to give them a little blurb about why I wanted to connect them with this person and say the 3 available times. Now, with it being summer, I know for sure myself, times are crazy, busy, nuts. Having 3 kids at home, myself, and having a lot of day trips here and there, lots of interruptions, lots of things going on, lots of vacation, enjoying life. Time is not as simple to find during this time of year. So I do find it a little bit more difficult to get 3-way calls down in the summer. But that doesn't mean it's not possible. It's definitely something to consider, though, when you've got a leader that says, I'm so sorry, I have none of those times available right now. Don't feel discouraged. Don't give up. Remember that persistent piece that I read? Be persistent and realize that that's fine. If you really want that leader, ask them specifically when they would be available. When's their next available time? And, they also want to make sure you're very serious because 3-way calls are the first thing and the easiest thing to cancel. Many times we have a lot of people that say they're going to get on the phone with you and then the guest either cancels last minute or doesn't show up when you call them. So, we always want to make sure that that leader who we're asking knows how serious we are because, it is time and their time is valuable. Always keep in mind as well that if your 3-way calls, if you're not respecting the time that that leader has, they may or may not want to do a 3-way call with you in the future. So if you say that you're only going to need 10 minutes, really we're hoping to keep it to that. And usually it is the expert that does the timeline because they're the ones connecting and talking. If it goes over time, usually that is the expert's issue. But if you're booking a time at Saturday at 3 o'clock and you're calling at 10 after 3, that's pretty much the call time used up. And I don't really like that. I know I've had that happen to me before, and it makes me start to think, is this person serious or are they just disrespecting my time? So if you have a time set, please respect that. And if you have cancellations, let them know as soon as you find out so that they're not waiting for the call and then finding out that you either forgot or you're not having the call anymore. And always ask your guest to confirm. You need to really emphasize the importance. This is a business. This is like a scheduled appointment. Like I said, many guests will cancel last minute because something has come up, and that's common. I get it. It happens. Even some experts have to cancel last minute because life does happen, and everyone understands that. But what is very frustrating is that if we aren't connecting with the guest at least an hour before the call to say, is this still going to work for you? Then that's where we just assume everything's okay. And people have busy lives. They could very easily forget. So it's always a great idea to connect with your guest to confirm. And I even go as far as connecting with my expert also about an hour before, even through a text or a quick message to say, I hope this time still works for you. I look forward to our call at 3 o'clock today. So anyway, those are just some great helpful tips for you to not miss your calls or have last minute cancellations. So about 2 to 5 minutes before your call, you want to call your expert to pre-brief. So again, keep in mind that these experts are sometimes asked to do multiple three-way calls in a day. So they may not remember that last Tuesday, you specifically wanted them to talk about your unsupportive spouse when you got started, or how it was having, a bunch of kids running around as you were trying to do business, that kind of thing. So they may not remember the whole purpose of why you wanted to connect with them for your three-way calls. So just give them a really quick reminder of who it is that you're going to have on the phone and where you want your focus to go. Then you're going to hit flash or link, depending on what phone you're on. You're going to call your guest and you're going to hit flash again, so that will connect everybody to the call. And I always confirm before we get started, do I have both of you here? And I'll say their names, and then I'm going to hear them say, yep, I'm here. Yep, I'm here. So just, that's a good way to make sure that everybody's on the line. Now you're also going to edify. So this is just simply, building up your expert, but I'm going to caution you on this. After being at the leadership event in Vegas with David Wood, the Amplified Leadership event, I realized there that there are times when we build our expert up so big that they seem untouchable or almost too far out of reach. In the sense that if we start saying that they created a 6-figure income in 6 months to someone who is maybe only interested in the product, that could really scare them, or it could make them feel very insecure in the sense that I don't think they really realize why I'm on the phone. I don't care about the business. I don't care about money. I don't care how much they made, how fast. I just want to know, are these products going to work for me? So be really cautious of how you build up your person, because we don't want people to be on a pedestal or too far to reach for your guest. And then you're going to introduce your guest. We always want to introduce both people, and just imagine yourself in your own living room introducing 2 friends or 2 business partners or whatever it is. But it's going to be very personal. It's going to be very comfortable. It's not going to be weird. So you're just introducing 2 people just like you would if you were in person with them. Number 4 is probably one of the most difficult things after actually scheduling your time. Number 4 is being quiet and listening. So as the person who initiates the call and gets the 2 people connected, this is where you are going to sit back and listen. You're not going to interrupt. You're not going to ask questions. You're not going to speak at all. You're going to sit back and listen. And this is where you're actually learning as you earn, because learning is a form of skill, right? We're learning by listening. The expert is being the model for you. You are learning through that, and so is your guest. Your guest is actually learning how this business is run. So if we are stepping in and talking above the expert, or jumping in and answering questions for the expert, that is actually defeating the whole purpose of what a 3-way call is. It is so important, and some of you may need to press mute on your phone because it's that hard to stay quiet. I know for me, I've been on a call before both ways, as an expert and as the person who initiated. And I've had times where either, number 1, I've been the interrupter, and I caught myself a few times going, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did that. And I've also been the expert who has been interrupted. And it's not a fun place to be. It actually looks very bad as far as how our business is. And it's disrespectful. There's no point in being on a 3-way call if all you do is talk in the middle of it. So, that might be a challenge for some of you, and others it's very easy because you actually are more happy to be a listener. All right, and the next one is obviously letting, at the end of the call, by 8 minutes or 13 minutes in, the expert usually will turn the call back over to you to say, thanks for connecting us. Do you guys have any other questions that I can answer right now? And that's where either one of you may decide to ask something. So that may be where you actually say, actually, yeah, there was one more thing. Could you tell the story about XYZ when this happened? And that might be where, you're just answering one more thing. but it's also good for you to step off the phone at that point. So after the questions are answered, you're going to thank both people. You're going to thank the guest for taking the time with you today, thank the person who initiated the call, and the expert is then going to leave the call to 2 people, and the expert will get off the line. This is where you as the initiator is going to make sure you answer any other questions to the guest, maybe get them started enrolled, or send them more tools or information. Let's talk about these tools because we have so many tools. Clearly, we've talked about them before. So in a previous webinar, I know some of this is review for you, but some of my favorite go-to places are isagenixbusiness.com, seeitwhenyoubelieveit.com, isateamsuccess.com, and allinOnebusiness.net. Clearly, we also have an amazing back office which has other fantastic tools. But let's just go into the website that I've created. And this is for our team, but it's also for anybody in Team Green, so one team also. So let's just search in the search key here. 3-way, I'm going to put 3-way calls. And you're going to see lots of great things. So 3-way calls are important for your success. Tara's 4-point intro. This is something I haven't changed yet, but I am going to, after that amplified event, I'm going to change some of the things. But right now, as you see, my 4-point intro is about me being an elementary school teacher for 9 years in Ontario, struggling to find a contract, mother of 3 young children, husband is a canine officer with the Barrie Police, working shift work, passionate to assist in liberating families for a life of wellness and abundance. And of course, some of the things that I would probably take off are the fact that, my salary of being able to replace a full-time teaching salary. Now, some people actually do want to know that information because they have someone on the phone who wants to replace their income within 3 to 5 years. So that might be something relative to that guest. And also receiving the recipient Heart of Isagenix Award, I don't really think that means much right now because, again, that's something that people don't understand. They don't even know what that means. So that would be something I would definitely take off my list here. So it's just good to have some key points for anybody, and it's good to have your 4-point intro for people that may not know you well for when you get called on to be an expert. But the best way to introduce someone clearly is when you know the person and you're able to give them personal things. The reason I wanted to connect you with Jacob is because he's a wonderful friend. He's really passionate to help other people reach their dreams in life. And, the thing I remember the first time I met Jacob was his amazing smile or something like that. Like, just make it really personal. And okay, so that is one area that you can go in the search here for more information. But I'm going to take you back to another spot again that we did before. And actually, here's our MIT Summer 2015 link too. I'm losing my voice. I need to take a drink here. Little T plus chai in ice form. Road to Executive. And helpful documents for your business success. And I'm repeating this part because I know many people are asking, where did you put all the stuff for the binders? Many of the things are here. You've got your new associate checklist, keeping track of your connections, so your follow-up sheet that we talked about. Lots of other great things here. Here's your three-way call details. Some other things we're going to discuss in the coming weeks, but you're going to find a lot of tools in here. Another place that you're going to find some great tools is by going to Road to Executive again. Any of these things, actually, recommended books, 12 steps to launching your next 90 days, 8 steps to helping your new member. We're going to be talking about that in more detail in the coming weeks. Weekly team calls. I'm going to put you right here because this is a really important part. You're going to see some numbers of calls. You're going to also see recorded calls. And I actually like the recorded calls most because many times people can't get on the live calls. But here are the recordings for all the live recordings that are done, recorded. Sorry, gosh, lost my words there. So, and the one that I really wanted to show you, because I'm going to have homework for you this week, is this Work Less, Live More Podomatic. When you click there, this is Pam and Kevin's website. The last one that they just did, so if you're watching this later on and you can't find this because it's not the first one, you'll want to look for the August 3rd, 2015, and it's talking about the promos and incentives to build your business. So you can actually click on their search key as well and put in the date to find the actual one that you're looking for. But I just wanted to share that with you because we are going to be going back here later on for you to find that call. So again, we went to Take Action, your Road to Executive, weekly team calls. Then we got here, and at the bottom, the recorded calls link, Work Less, Live More, Podomatic. When we click there, it's how to take advantage of promos and incentives to build your business. So that's when we're talking about some of the homework for increasing your awareness around the comp plan. All right. So let's go back to our PowerPoint here. Oh, good. For a minute there, I thought I forgot to share my screen. Oh my goodness, that scared me. All right, get back to our slideshow. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do, and I am going to be sharing this on our group page tonight when I'm posting this recording. Here are some really valuable places that you're going to find information about the compensation plan. The compensation plan seems very complex and very complicated, but I will admit to you that it sometimes just takes some time to figure it out. And we've had a lot of changes lately with the Canadian dollar. So, you know, some things that you've learned before possibly are changing a little bit because of the Canadian dollar, but it really is all relatively the same. So here are some really great links. The one that really helped me is the second link called jensmith-training.com. There's a video on there, and she kind of teaches the concept of our compensation plan with her children as actors. And I think that it's a really valuable tool. I do believe it's still relative to where we're at now with the comp plan, but there's always some changes that go along. So that's why I attached where you'll find, you know, like I said, to find Pam and Kevin's training link from last week about the promos and incentives. That is really an up-to-date as of today, August 2015, so that you understand some of the new things going on or the current promotions, because they do change. And it's always really important for business partners and leaders to understand the changes going on and know exactly what is on the table for everybody. So that is a great one for you to continue with, and that's going to be homework this week. You're going to learn differently than everyone, so what may really work for you may not work for the next person, and maybe this Jen Smith training video doesn't work for you as much as it worked for me. So really find your way, and like I said, some of the tools are going to be found on isagenixbusiness.com in your back office, and sometimes you'll find other things on some of the other links that I had posted on that previous slide. So again, here's this week's homework. Do 1 to 3 three-way calls before our next call. And our next call is scheduled for August 12th. Wow, just a couple days before celebration. And again, I might have to record that one early because I know that next week is going to be just as busy as this week, and I just did not want to put this off. So it's easier for me to record than to put it off to next week, because then we'd be really behind. So anyway, you'll want to try to practice some three-way calls and, you know, just get a hang for it. Maybe it's even just practice calls right now that you're just trying to put people in touch. And you know what? Sometimes the practice calls are the best ones because you're actually asking a friend who may not even be interested in Isagenix, but you may just say, hey, you know what? With my business, I really need to practice a skill. Would you be open to being one of my guinea pigs? You know, you could actually just ask them for permission to put them on a three-way call with someone and tell the expert that you're practicing. Many experts would be very pleased to be a practice for you. So, and many friends who aren't interested in your business may be a very, you know, open participant. Get familiar with your compensation plan details. So again, go to isagenixbusiness.com. I'm going to show you some areas. So you want to start here, you plus two, them plus two. There's a quick video. How to get your products paid for, right? That's a really good one. Teach others how to get their products paid for. Those are both really helpful for the comp plan. Oh, just need to go back here for a second. I'm just looking at some of the links to remember where all your there's one more that I really wanted to share with you guys, but I might be okay. So that was, I just want to show you where I went. So I'm in isagenixbusiness.com. Obviously, you plus two, them plus two is a great place. Tools, or sorry, training. Flyers and PDFs. This is where you're going to find your Crystal Manager Reset, your leadership pools, double PIB, rank advancement bonuses. All the things that Pam mentions in her call are here. So that was under, again, isagenixbusiness.com, training, flyers, and PDFs. Okay, so that's one place for all those things. Then the next thing is tools. Isagenix compensation plan. There's a few videos here, which is fantastic training. But again, if you're finding that this isn't the way you learn, then there's other places to go. I'm just going to show you the other website that we have here in our, sorry guys to go back and forth. Remember when we were in this spot, allinOneBusiness.net. So I'm going to show you this again because I find that for those of you who might need to see more in paper, allinOneBusiness.net is great. We have income plan. And you're going to find a lot of PDFs here that will help you. Some of them are duplications from isagenixbusiness.com and others are a little bit of a different way to see it. So you know, here's some details you may have seen in other ways, but I just wanted to show you a couple different places you can go because some of you really like to read things and others are okay with watching. So you may have to go back through this webinar to see some of the tips and ideas that I'm giving you, but you know, it's not meant to be complicated. It's meant to be very simple, but at the beginning it can seem complicated because it's all new to you and it is Isagenix jargon. So that's why when I say jensmithtraining.com, hers is without the jargon. She explains it in a little bit more detail. So this is her website and here's her video here. I'm just going to see that it's still working.
Hi, welcome to the compensation plan. I'm really excited to deliver the compensation plan because when I wanted to understand how to make money in Isagenix, I went to ISA.
Okay, so it does work. I just wanted to see that it does still as I'm giving you these websites. So there are some tools for you guys. I just want to make sure, like I said, I'm not giving you these because you have to go into all of them. I'm just giving you these links so that you feel that there's more than one place to go if you need different information. Because not everyone is going to learn the same way, right? This is just the ISA Team Success website. And again, really helpful information. You will see other things on here as far as, I mean, even some of these are looking at stories that you may want to connect for three-way calls, for example. So if you go to Success Stories, Meet Our Millionaires, 3 stars and above, rising stars. So let's just say, for example, 3 stars and above. And I'm so grateful that I'm in that page. But basically all you would do is you would click on the image of the person. So it says where they're from, right? Click on the actual photo of the person and you're going to see a little bit about their story. This is a great way to learn about the people you are connected with, either financially or not financially. You may see that, oh wow, this is A family member of Mike Delaire and Robin Bigley. Okay, Chantel and Dave. What did they do? Previous profession. Oh, Dave, police officer. Okay. Chantel was a high school teacher for 15 years, but was able to resign because of her success with Isagenix. That could be where you go, oh my gosh, I know a teacher, and if I, get in touch with this teacher and she wants more information, I'm going to remember to contact Chantel. So this is another way that you want to connect people with the right people. Don't be afraid to specifically request information or a three-way call with these people that you're seeing on this website. So again, that was under isateamsuccess.com, and I went to success stories, millionaires, 3 stars and above, rising stars. All right, so again, really great information. Okay, so enough of those tools, because I think that I'm giving you a lot of information right now. Let's just see what the rest of this week is for you. All right. Whoops. And actually, that was it, because we are going to do the 8 steps to launching a new associate next week. So I just want to thank everybody for tuning in to the recording and for being patient with me and rolling with it, because that's what I'm doing these days. Remember what I read at the beginning about persistence and about the difference between successful people and people who quit. It's a matter of those small things, right? Taking those times where it doesn't seem convenient, or it's just not working, or something is happening that it's making you feel like you shouldn't do it anymore, and realizing that these are things to stretch us even further. I believe that the tension that comes sometimes is there for a reason, to help us grow. When I think of working out, it hurts the muscle. The muscle is getting broken down in order to repair itself to build new muscle. And when we're going through our personal tensions, or the things that are going on in our life that are making us feel overwhelmed or sore in areas, it's there for a reason. It's helping us grow to a new place. So don't discount those moments. Realize that they're there for a reason. And as challenging as it is to fit it all in, maybe it's a matter of prioritizing. And I know for myself, I look at it and I say, what is the priority right now? Yes, my children are important, but do my children need to be beside me all hours of the day? No. There are things I can set up for them to have some fun while I'm not in the room. And these are things that I am able to do, or to try to do these things when they're sleeping, which I wasn't able to do tonight because I know I need that time to continue with laundry and packing. So anyway, don't give up, guys. Just know that you can do this. If I can do this, you can do this. I promise you. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. And I'll keep you posted about whether or not it'll be live or recorded next week, but probably it will be recorded so that I can actually get myself packed and ready for San Diego. Anyway, guys, have a wonderful week, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. And if you're going to San Diego, see you there. Safe travels. Bye for now.